Nigga!
You should give that recipe a whirl. Percival's research tends to be pretty sound, and probably less than a 10% chance you go blind. I'm just gonna wait until that drug's in production. Then I'm telling everyone Percival and I saved Mars. Oh, the engine, of course.
If you told me Hurst would ever give up that seat willingly, I'd say you were crazy. Something must have happened. Something big. It's from the Inferno, Dante. Sixth Circle of Hell was where all the fallen angels set up shop when heaven tossed them out. Upon the gates I spied more than 1,000, who of old from heaven were hurled. That's all right. None of these drunks got it either. But second home to the devils seemed about as good a moniker as I was going to find for my bar. Becoming a devil? It was a point of pride on Mars for a lot of years. Parents on New Atlantis, they'd want their kids to become a Class 1 bureaucrat or something. Here, we got bedtime stories about the demons from the mines. Martian fiends, honed finer than any knife edge, tougher than any blast shield. When the UC needed results, they sent us. So, when the devils were disbanded, when all that went away, you can understand how hard it was for folks here.
Live where you work. Tired of commuting from distant systems to civilian.
Crime's at an all-time low around
Condominium
Stone.
has 3 apartments available to rent. Whether you need single, double, or family occupancy, Lux has you covered. Inquire today.
Do your part to keep Sidonia graffiti-free.
The bridge above the masked Nat station. Meet me there. When people find out who I am, it usually makes things complicated. And the situation we were in back on Tau Ceti, in that moment, we sure as hell didn't need any added complications. I wish I knew. Despite the difference in scale of the two attacks, the samples having the same markers, it's too big of a red flag to ignore. But whether it's something internal to these morphs that's different, or something common in the environment, or something else completely, we can't know yet. We just need more information. That's why we need to speak to the cabinet. Exactly. To access the archives, we need to get the UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun to all agree to help. And just getting the UC on board is going to be hard enough. I don't expect the cabinet's going to be thrilled about the prospect of rocking that diplomatic vessel.
Hi. Please disregard. I attempted an informal greeting, but I am dissatisfied with the results. Hello. Good day, Captain.
It's good to be back on board.
It's amazing to think that this tree predates New Atlantis. Can you imagine all the changes it's seen?
The Embassy District is a controversial place. 3 bickering houses all on the same street. It's grand, isn't it? A testament to humanity's ability to compromise and cooperate. But let's be honest. The treaty is nothing more than a carefully crafted artifice. If it's a testament to anything, it's mankind's ability to lie to itself. I used to work in interstellar affairs before I was dismissed, due to some of the differences I had with management. But I am not retired, not by a long shot. After all, I can do more when detached from the strings of bureaucracy. I do a lot of reading and take walks through the district. We don't have trees like this on the other systems. There's a calming presence about them, but that belies their inner strength. After all, neither you nor I could pull out the roots of a tree on our own. For while there is beauty above, everything that matters happens under the surface. Sadly, yes. The war with the Freestar Collective hasn't ended. The director has merely called for an intermission and the audience has departed to the lobby. But behind the curtain, the stagehands at Mast are busy preparing for the next act. Excellent. I do have something you can help me with. In my spare time, I like to collect plants. The rarer, the better, especially from Earth. One of my prized collections is an olive seed. I'd like you to plant this seed in the atrium, so that it may grow and be a symbol for peace. A lone olive tree growing in this garden of alien life would send a message. People might interpret it as a message from God, and truth be told, I'm counting on that to happen. Some might call it manipulation, but I like to think we're helping people choose what they need, rather than what they want. Incidentally, I did try, but the god had other ideas. Bad ideas, I'm sure, involving more bruises than I was willing to endure. But if you are the sneaky type, perhaps you can do it undetected. Yes, but I once worked as an emissary to both the Freestar Collective and House Varun. If a snake spends enough time underwater, people might mistake him for a fish. And people do the same with me. Thank you. I'll have a reward for you when you return. Diplomacy will never die. The question is, will it be used in good faith? I could try the Aquila City Shuffle. After all, filibustering for attention is my specialty. God! I'd like to report a crime.
Okay. What's the crime?
Crime. Passion.
Is there a body?
Oh, yes. There is certainly a body. There can't be a crime without a body.
Okay, but if there's a crime scene, we might need to bring in a blood spatter expert.
There's no blood. Why would there be blood?
Stay away from the garden. You said this was a crime of passion.
Oh, did I say passion? I meant a crime of fashion. Your uniform is hideous. I would like to report it.
Get the hell out of my sight. Don't touch the plants.
I'm a student of history, which also makes me a student of war, schemes, and betrayal. Well done. In about 5 years, it will grow into a full tree. And lo and behold, just as the people begin to doubt the armistice, a miracle blossoms right in the embassy district, an olive branch. You overestimate people's attention spans. Sometimes the messaging has to be heavy-handed. The sad fact is, our leaders just aren't bright enough. And yet, they're the ones chosen for the task. Either way, I'd appreciate your silence in this going forward. And to ensure that, here's your reward. Spend it well.
Is real. If encountered, these alien predators should be avoided at all costs. Do not attempt to engage. Report any sightings immediately to United Colonies authorities. Seek shelter and wait for a Marine detachment to jump in.
I'm sorry, I really can't afford to be distracted. I need to get to the bottom of this. I am not staring, I am analyzing. This is important xenobiological work. I work for the scientific division of MAST, I've been studying this tree for quite some time, and it appears to be exhibiting some worrying signs. Are you familiar with this particular specimen? Do you understand its importance?
I've passed by this particular tree many times, and honestly, I never gave it a second thought. Does it hold some sort of special significance?
Finally, somebody understands. Unless, wait, you're not mocking me, right? People. Look, I have a lot to do here. If you're just going to gawk, I'd ask that you move on. If you can actually assist me, however, I would appreciate it. I don't normally solicit help from random passersby, but it seems an exception is necessary. Would you be willing to retrieve some additional data for me? A mercenary, huh? Well, I'm sure we can work something out. So, are you on board? Well, thank you. That's unexpected. There's a series of biosensors I've placed in various locations around New Atlantis, all calibrated to gather pertinent information. They've been running for long enough that I think it's time to collect and analyze their findings. If you would bring them to me, that would save time.
Can I help?
If it isn't my favorite almost a lab assistant, what can I do for you? Any luck tracking down those sensors? Recent scans of the bee have suggested that a significant portion of the interior is liquefied. Obviously, some small percentage of its internal workings is always liquid to allow for the transfer of nutrients and so forth, but this, well, I've never seen anything like it. If it continues to increase, I'm concerned the entire tree may collapse, and I'm also worried about other secondary effects. It's too soon to speculate. I'd very much like to see the additional data before I say more. If the time comes, I will certainly attempt to alert the appropriate people en masse. If I have data, though, my concerns might carry some more weight. I appreciate your confidence. The sooner I have all the available data, the sooner I can make an assessment. They're broadly distributed across the city in order to cover as wide an area as possible. And if I'm being completely honest, my memory isn't quite what it used to be. I've been trying to get results for so long. Let's see if I can't remember. One of them should be over near that building Walter Stroud owns. You know, that explorers group, or whatever it is. There's a sensor located by the waterfall. I believe I properly compensated for the seismic disturbances caused by the waterfall. We'll see if it was enough. I did manage to strategically place a sensor in a tree near the, chunks over in the residential district. I presume it's still there. The last sensor is right next to the New Atlantis Corporate Park. There's a tree next to the pond, and you'll find this there. I hope you'll have them all soon. I'm eager to see the data they've been collecting. Are you now? Because what I'm hearing is I don't have them, and that's not what I'd like to be hearing. Look, I don't want to alarm you or anyone else, but this is important. Time-sensitive, let's say. Maybe possibly a little bit critical.
Just so we're all on the same page, all this fuss is over a tree? A tree that's been standing in front of Mast for years? Correct? Talk to you later.
In the middle of a busy spaceport. Although no one was injured except the tracker's target, this newest spate of violence has renewed the call for stricter regulation of the tracker's alliance.
Hey, no loitering.
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC, it's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. A non-trivial amount of editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked. I'm the last. A few of my siblings, they passed when we were young, training accidents and the like. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the Colony War, and they never came back. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the world would look like with them still in it. He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. He had his men open fire on civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the Colony War to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides agreed the settled systems would be better without him. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything, the human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up, and the eyes were my parting gift. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy. Perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me, too. But Vetus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. It's hard to know exactly what might sway them. I'd just be honest about what you saw. A colony wiped out, and a lot of lives lost. Something we don't want anyone else to have to experience. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Come find me when you're done.